Hi guys, in this video we're talking about the people at the moon. They are currently furthest from the Earth has ever been. My heart is beating for them. Oh my god. They're called like A2 or something. They're literally on the dark side of the moon right now, scattering it. Artemis 2 recorded lunar breaking. I'm gonna go to... Daddy, what's that channel called?
NASA.
No, the other one.
NASA space flight.
Alright. Alright guys, you won't be able to see it, but NASA space flight. Love ya!
Love ya.
Alright guys. I do not care about answering questions.
I don't know. I think we all really can. Crater McCrater face, a couple people have already said that. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I would probably have to name it after a family member, kind of like they did for Green Point. Atticus, you know what sort of observation/experiment will be doing as they're in LOS?
They're in LOS right now, chat.
Well, specifically for the LOS, the loss of signal, it's pretty much going to be similar to what they've been doing. So, for now, but as they are going into the darker portions, or like the shadow side of the moon, there is one specific, or at least two specific things that they might be looking out for. One of them is, as they mentioned on the comms, is about the potential for maybe looking out for like hits of meteorites on the moon.
God bless them, dog.
Because
They can't talk to Earth right now, chat. Imagine you being...
And it flashes as with...
Imagine you being like hundreds of thousands of miles away from Earth, and you can't say anything to your family for 45 minutes, guys. 46 minutes. Imagine you can't talk to Earth, you can only talk to the 4 humans in there, dog. You're furthest away from Earth, you don't know what's out there, dog. It's like being the first one to ride Top Thrill 2. What if it fails? Dad!
What?
Imagine being out there and you can't talk to anyone on Earth. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
Right now, West Asia, the sun's starting to rise there, so they're going to be able to see West Asia in 45 minutes, dog. Shit! There is an ad for Gemini. Guys, God bless these guys. Everyone put the prayers in the chat if you're watching this even after.
Floating off from the surface of the moon, right? It's sort of like hanging around a little bit, which is a weird phenomenon, but they've observed that, going back to the Apollo program. And so it's going to be interesting what they report out of that and what they are able to catalog and record. Remember that, the things that we've been hearing...
They're an LOS chat. That means a lot. Lots of signal.
Summaries, they
could be alive or dead right now. We don't know.
Detailed recording.
I think that they would know because of the spaceship's statistics. They probably have like health and shit like that.
We'll probably hear some of that.
I want to see the moon. Where's the moon? It's too bright.
Yeah, and you can see there for a bit when we got a look inside the science room at the Johnson Space Center.
It's too cloudy, goddammit.
The teams were hugging each other in celebration
God,
of the amazing
man.
science that's gotten so far. And again, excited to hear the observations that we get once they do return from the loss of signal in the far side, which, a reminder, they did enter loss of signal at about 6:44-ish p.m. Eastern Time.
It's 6:47 right now.
40 minutes LOS. So in approximately 40 minutes after that, we will hopefully hear from them. They did tell the crew to continue to make call-outs in the blind, so in other words, just report any way back, and in case signal does bounce around, then they'll be able to get it, and we'll also be able to know once they reacquire that signal. And on your screen right now, you can see this look at NASA's Deep Space Network, which is used to communicate with spacecraft that are beyond Earth orbit. That does include Artemis 2, that's ART.
Artemis 2, guys, what it's called.
So once we see two-way communications going back and forth with
I can play this game a little bit.
that's when we'll be able to...
We're just going to keep that stream on so you guys can hear it.
Let me continue clearing up the report, and then we've got some cool stuff to show you. Alan Smith, same toilet was designed by Howard Wolowitz, you know. Big Bang Theory reference. Gregory Gold with a super chat, no message, but appreciate it.
Don't know who that is.
Dave, serious question, could the radio pick up alien signals without the radio interference on the other side of the moon? Seems like an opportunity. We've got plenty of spacecraft that are out that far. We would have heard something, I think, at that point.
True. Aliens exist, just not near us.
Gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Emerald City Boulevard Team X went to the moon. Jack Fire, probably. Adrian, thank you for the $5 super chat. Black and white again. I already saw this, said Marcel. Appreciate the winky face there. Dino Goki becoming a Pad Rat member.
That's not me, guys. Trust me. Even though I like Dino Nuggets.
And we had Elizabeth Hoffner gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Jeff with the $20 super chat.
This is NASA Star Spaceflight, by the way, the channel. Shout out to them.
Now, but is too shy to super chat. Give them a shout out, Sawyer. Well, Tony, appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much, and appreciate the support there. And,
can we go to outer space in this game? I want to join them.
Let's see. At this point, let's see. What images are the presenters of tonight's show most excited about seeing? Great commentary and engagement as always. Clear skies, NSF. I think I'm looking forward to seeing just some of the details of parts of the moon that we've never seen before. We're talking, some of these Mare and some of the lighted areas that they'll get to observe that have never seen.
You guys can look up photos right now if you watch this after it's live. They definitely have photos now.
Do you have any spots for
I don't know what they're going to be. Look, guys, there's storm cloud all around me except for this one opening.
I don't really have anything in particular, but I'm really interested to be surprised. Like, that's sort of the point, right? Of like, see what they have seen, right? And that's sort of the.
We're going to outer space, guys.
Mission, right?
We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon, guys. I'm going to go see the dark side. We are in space right now. I'm going to go see space with them.
Taking close-up imagery, right? Compared to what the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter does. But it's a human at the other end of the camera that shot those pictures, right? That they see that crater, that surface feature, or something like that, or certain colors.
Oh, if we got high enough, you actually do get above the storm.
Point our camera at it and shoot it, right? Like, I think that's unique.
We're going to outer space, guys.
Yeah, and what's crazy is having to try and photograph the moon. This is something with these high-quality cameras we haven't really seen. And Don Pettit, who was an astronaut aboard the ISS, who was a master of photography there,
we're in outer space.
Has a great insight into what it's...
There's the moon right there, chat.
Where these astronauts photograph.
The astronauts are over there on that moon over there. You guys see it over there? That's the moon. The sun's right there. The moon's right there. That's where they are, chat. They're behind that moon right there.
I share a great passion behind the camera. I'm a photographer as well, but my subjects are mostly here on the ground, whereas yours have always been pointed down. How would you approach photographing the moon, especially from the far side, like the Artemis 2 crew will?
Well, first you have to figure out what your field of views are going to be. You've got rather smallish windows. You're going to be like 6,500 kilometers away.
I don't know kilometers.
The windows are made out of cast acrylic, so the optical properties aren't the best. So you can't just screw on a long telephoto lens and get really sharp imagery. You're going to have to choose the appropriate telephoto lens and then get whatever that happens to show up in your pictures. And I'm thinking there would be obvious picture to try to recreate is Earthrise.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe Earthrise with I guess it's going to be a gibbous Earth, not a crescent Earth, but a crescent Earth to me is really cool. Apollo 17 took an amazing picture of an Earthrise, but instead of a gibbous...
The Earth looks like the moon from far away, Jack.
Crescent Earth.
Looks just like the moon from far away.
Have you been able to talk with the Artemis 2 crew about any photography aspects on that front?
Yeah, Tonto and Christina are, in particular, really into photography, and we've spent a lot of time talking.
What are some challenges, given those conversations, do you expect the crew to face from an imagery standpoint? I know you're just...
This is crazy, bot.
The acrylic being a factor. How do you think those may compare to your experience and theirs, at least for Reed, Victor, and Christina, from their time previously on the space station?
Well,
there's 15,000 people watching this live stream, but it's not the official NASA channel. The official NASA channel had like 700,000 people. Like you yourself wondering. This is history, by the way. Hi, my great-grandchildren watching this. Your grandpa's going through history right now. Or just my grandchildren.
It's equivalent to an FX4.
Your grandpa's going through history right now, dog.
I imagine the same thing for the Orion.
How does it feel? It feels like anxiety.
Lenses. I'm a wide angle kind of person. Fisheye lenses are not wide angle enough for me. And you can get some amazing pictures out these windows with wide angle. I think about wide angle, the composition you can have, and not only when you're on the far side of the moon doing your flyby, but for the 4 days journey out there, there's going to be all kinds of things to take.
They've been out there for so many days, chat.
And wide angle would be part of the story. Telephoto will be another part of the story, up to what the resolution of the current windows allow.
We had the privilege of talking to you on the space station about a year and a quarter ago. Now that you're back on Earth, do you have any specific photograph, or is there any specific photograph that you cherish among others, not just from this past flight, but in general?
I have a Japanese book.
I've taken the ones that I did with what I call an orbital sidereal tracker. And this sidereal tracker on Earth tracks about once every 24 hours to counteract Earth's rotation, so you can do long exposures with star fields. And I brought a homemade device that...
it's an ad.
and galaxies like the Large Magellanic Clouds. And the neat thing is the perspective, because you got the limb of the Earth, you got atmospheric air glow, you can get zodiacal light, you can get reflections from the moon, and you see Starlink satellites, and you have all of this in a perspective that is not possible from the surface of Earth. And it's a sidereal tracker that allowed
this man's talking live, I think.
New imagery on my last mission, and those right now are my favorites.
Is that the barn door tracker you've always talked about?
No, the barn door tracker counteracted orbital motion for taking pictures of cities.
That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah, and it was all a hand thing. And it would not make the stars as points of light. It was meant for looking nadir straight down and countering out the ground track motion over Earth, so you could do a long exposure and get the city, the city lights. And that was when the digital cameras we had were like ISO 800, and it would take a 2, sometimes 3-second exposure to get a good image of cities at night. And now with the modern cameras, you can just do hand tracking for cities.
This is not live, guys. This is live, but the man talking right now is not live. It was pre-recorded. The astronauts are up the moon better now.
30 to 60 seconds, and not without the stars wiggling and jiggling.
Right.
And this orbital.
Imagine being on the moon. Like, not on the moon, they're not going around the moon, but still, imagine being around the moon and probably able to talk to anyone.
That's helped you with your photos here on the ground of whatever you want to shoot.
Well, the experience counts a lot, and things that I learn on Earth transcribe to going into space, and then things that you learn in space transcribe what goes on Earth. So you keep your eyes open and your mind open, and whatever. There's Josh Kutrick walking by. There seems to be a lot of these astronauts walking around here.
Weird around these parts here, right?
But you keep yourself receptive for new ways of walking and talking, and you learn from other people, and you can incrementally improve on whatever is important in your life.
Is there, bringing it back to Artemis 2 to close this out, is there a specific feature on the moon that you're most excited about being captured, or how about just in general for the mission?
I do a lot of imagery of the moon from my driveway in Houston. And what I have focused on is the South Pole region of the moon, where we're planning to go for these Artemis missions. When it's time to put significant assets, build a lunar base. And
They're building a lunar base, guys, first. It's actually really cool. We're going to do experiments in outer space is what that's meant for.
Earth is not an
This has never been able to be done before on Earth.
The moon will go through librations, and I found out you have to pronounce that carefully because there's another word that sounds almost the same. But if this is the moon, it will wiggle around, it will librate, and it can tip up to 6 degrees, so you can see a concept 6 degrees past the South Pole, and you can image Shackleton Crater, which is right on the South Pole. You can image Nobile, you can image the Gerlach, you can image the ridge that connects Shackleton Crater to the Gerlach. Lots of neat things you can image just from Earth. And if you were flying by the moon, I would want to see what could I do for imagery in the
No one's going as fast as a rocket, not really. They're going over like 1,000 miles an hour.
What are you most excited about for the mission?
I just want the mission to go off safely and
Me too, amen.
accomplish their goals and have the crew come back and all
Amen.
smiling and waving to folks like you so you could do another interview.
You, Don, are magnificent. Thank you so much for your time. That was amazing.
My pleasure.
Don Pettit, one of the most senior astronauts at NASA and master of photography while aboard the International Space Station, talking about
Chat's being spammed right
photographing
now.
the moon. Of course, the crew of 4 up there is doing that as we speak, but we do not have communications with them as we are in a planned LOS, or loss of signal. That has been going on for about 15 minutes up at this point. But, speaking of this point, we are about to experience the next piece of history.
Amen.
We're just a couple seconds away from Artemis 2 reaching the closest point to the moon in hitting that right about now.
Now!
That is 4,067 statute miles above the surface.
4,000 miles, dog.
4,500.
That's closer than I am.
Kilometers up.
That's closer to the moon than I am.
This is the closest humans have been to the moon since 1972, and hopefully not the closest we'll see. Hopefully in a couple of years we'll get even closer, aka the surface itself. But for right now, I mean, this is pretty amazing.
I hope everybody remembers where they are during this moment. I know we can't talk to the crew right now, I know Houston can't talk to the crew right now. They're on their own. But this is a moment literally decades in the making. And I hope everyone takes note of where they're watching from right now. And where they were when this happened.
Not just that. You can see there a look at the science tracker from NASA, the live view into that, going near some of those craters there in the far side, out of communications, but they are also just about to be the farthest that any human has been from Earth. They already are, but they're about to set the official record of the farthest away from our home planet at 252,756 statute miles, or 406,771 kilometers. It has been over 50 years since we have seen humans away from the Earth, and now they are farther away than they have ever been. And yet, over 50 years later, with live streaming and with what we're able to do here at NSF and the visuals being provided, somehow this feels closer than ever before. The moon finally feels within reach. We're that much closer to getting humans back on the surface of the moon, and even though they're far away and we can't talk to them right now, this is just the beginning of what will hopefully be the continued presence of humanity back in the sphere of influence around the moon, and then again back on the lunar surface, and this time to stay. Anyone else have any other prophetic words?
Just remember where you were. I mean, we're going to have another moment like that once we see people walking on the moon again. But this is the closest we've been in 53, 54 years. Decades in the making for this moment, now the crew technically is on their way home. And I don't know if I have the vocabulary to properly convey what I'm feeling right now. I don't know about you guys, but man,
It's going to be something special hearing them come back from the loss of signal here.
Look at
Hearing their words from while they were on the car.
Alright guys, I'm back. I made hot dogs.
I mean, you got to imagine.
They're halfway around the moon now. Halfway around the moon, guys, based on what I saw.
In a complete communications blackout. Just the four of you.
I made hot dogs.
on the moon. And that's it. No communication with anyone else.
this is...
That's got to be an existential.
Get this goddamn shit off my screen, dog. Shut up, McDonald's.
How to find the right car.
Shut your dick ass up, dog.
Go to cars.com. Look at the
Shut your dick ass up, dog.
Ciao. Find your next possibility on
I don't care about that shit, bro. We're talking about history here.
And they beat that record by Apollo. We're talking about the record from Apollo 13, right? So they've been now that record has been beaten by 4,101 statute miles, or 6,600 kilometers, more or less, or up and down, basically.
Yep.
All these people playing the game, are they listening to this or no?
So now they're gonna, that speed relative to Earth is gonna start
Where's the minute of this game?
going up.
It's right above us.
Yeah, people have been asking, why is it slowing down? Why has it been slow?
There's the moon in the game, guys.
Well, again, if we're talking relative to Earth,
There's the moon. They're right there.
Towards Earth,
Damn.
that speed will start to go up.
I'm looking at people on the moon, dog. Get out of my face.
Like a roller coaster, right? Where you are in your peak and then you slow down and then whoop, you pick up the speed as you go down. Similarly, now they're going to be picking up speed. And actually, they're going to be faster than during translunar injection, because if you think about it, when they were doing the translunar injection, that happened around 115 miles in altitude, so above the thickest parts of the atmosphere. But this time, when they come back, they're actually going to enter the atmosphere. So for a while, they're actually going to be slightly faster than a translunar injection, because they're going to be deeper into the Earth's gravity well, right? So they're going to speed up a little bit more, that tiny difference between just above the atmosphere or down in the thickest parts. Of course, the atmosphere at one point will be thick enough that it will start slowing down the spacecraft. But, you know, it's sort of quite interesting, because, yes, gravity in theory should be that it's symmetrical. Once they go back again through 115 miles, they're going to be pretty much around the same speed. But there's a little bit more until you actually reach the part where you get slowed down by the atmosphere. So you're going to speed up a little bit more.
And they're going to be picking up speed pretty good once the gravity of Earth gets a hold of them again.
By the way, forward, didn't they already go farther an hour ago? Yes, but now they're the farthest. And that officially set the record.
Correct.
Yeah, first you break the record and then you go.
I don't. Love you.
But wait, there's
No,
more.
I don't.
Yeah.
Love you.
Alright, let me,
I'm trying to go back to my
chat
stream. I'm trying
back
to say
up
love you.
while we're not going to be
No,
interrupted
no,
by the team communicating. Sound like when the Apollo 8 mission happened, we only had a few bad resolutions of the TV shoots. We had to wait a few weeks after the mission to see the photos. I saw someone asking, will we see photos from this flyby before they splash down? Yes, absolutely yes. They are. They noted that each of them has their own personal SD card.
Just watch it with me, dog.
So when they're done, they will load it up into the computer.
Wow,
and then there's
dog,
a system
that's
that while they're
crazy,
sleeping,
bro.
using
Dang,
laser
bro.
optics, they will be able to beam down those photos at a higher speed. And then Mission Control will work on getting those down overnight and releasing a couple of them to the public. So we should be seeing those soon.
And no shit, I think they said that those were going to be released during their next sleep period, or were those going to be sent during their next sleep period, or something like that.
Yeah, one big difference. I was going to mention one big difference, of course, compared to Apollo is that now we have digital cameras, right? And there's no need to return film or anything like that. And so you can just upload it, and they're going to be doing the high bandwidth transmissions through their optical laser in space communications tonight. They use that while they are asleep.
I believe any images that were sent back previously that were beamed down were slow scans. So, quite a difference.
Yeah.
We are now about 15 minutes away, by the way, from the return of communications.
15 minutes, chat.
Just for people who are wondering where we're at in the timeline there. JK Video, keep up the good work. Thank you very much. We tried. Rick St. Hilaire, thank you for the $20 super chat message. Still appreciated. Dillob saying hoping to see some Mun arches, like Kerbal Space Program. Forward, will blackout mean totally dark moon for them? Alex?
Not yet. Once they regain contact, we should be in about, do the math, 16 minutes from now or so. They should be regaining contact. After that, a few minutes later, not a few minutes, actually 50 minutes later, the moon will be completely blocking the sun, and so they're going to have an actual dark side of the moon in front of them to be able to look at. And that eclipse is scientifically called. It's not the usual you see, solar eclipse and whatnot, but still an eclipse. That should last, let me take a look here.
15 minutes.
A little bit under an hour. It's about 56 to 58 minutes or so, yeah.
7:09 p.m.
Obviously, their trajectory changes.
Shit, 7:09 p.m.
The predicted numbers that we get from NASA.
EST.
Let's see. Jose was asking because the image size and pixel count of 100 megapixels for Hasselblad versus 45 for Z9. Figure for this they'd want the higher res. By the way, I'm a Canon user too. Photo enthusiast R5 Gen 1.
We got about 13 minutes.
But anyway. Chelsea Cat, just then the spacecraft and the moon until there's knocking on the hatch. Doug J with $10 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com saying, purely hypothetical, what might they do if they weren't close enough to the moon's gravity to get pulled around and escape out the other side? Would they be able to burn in return? I mean, that's why they have the mid-course correction burns to make sure that doesn't happen. But they do always have extra propellants on board.
Extra fuel.
Yeah, I mean, they still... Yeah. Oh, go ahead,
Max. I'm talking about orbits already too much.
I mean, like, I can't talk about orbital mechanics the way you can, Alex, but they have enough margin on board to make decent enough correction should they need to. But chances are, just given the nature of orbital mechanics, if they were going to be that far off, we would have seen major corrections by now. So they do have some margin to work with, but not enough to get into or out of lunar orbit. But everything looks to be on track so far, which is good.
Yeah, what I was going to mention is that even if the moon wasn't there, right, because orbits are, at least orbits are bound to Earth are closed, right? Like if you go to low Earth orbit, it's more or less a circular orbit, but you can have a very long elliptical orbit as long as it is around the Earth, as long as
Do you have any space-looking cars?
Trajectory, as long as it's
Special occasion, dog.
escaping the Earth completely, right? When we talk about translunar injection, it skips Earth. Well, it skips the vicinity of the Earth. It doesn't really
I actually do. Hold on.
escape velocity to really, go, I don't know, to Mars or something like that. Even if the moon wasn't there, it will still come back, right? But being able to do it in this way sort of saves you the trouble of also having to do some kind of
multiple guys
space and things like that. For example, to have that lowest point in your orbit inside the atmosphere for that very precise entry corridor that they need for when they come back. Hopefully in about 4 days, less than 4 days, I think. But yeah.
And on Friday, yes.
Friday.
Friday. It's a good day to come back. It's Monday currently right now.
Selling all Apollo mission TLI burns for free returns. This is a backup for the SPS failed to work. On some missions, they went out of the free return to get to other landing zones. Fares on the rise. The amount of life-changing images we are watching live. Yes, it is.
And we were literally just watching. I was just saying, like, right before we got to LOS, whoever has that 400, I hope was just absolutely, like, right as the Earth was coming past or behind the crescent of the moon, because those images are going to be ending up on the front.
The rocket's going like 900. How fast? I'm gonna tell you guys.
Like those, we were watching that.
The rocket is going, I'm gonna say, in miles per hour. God damn it! Of course, there's an ad. You racist ass bum. Now I gotta wait again, guys. It's going 927 miles an hour. Can we even get to a quarter of that speed? Let's see. 927 miles an hour. Because they're going slow because they need to look at the moon. They're taking pictures of the moon right now.
The course line Earth to Moon screen looks very much like a small fish, so I've dubbed it the...
We're kind of going that fast. I mean,
I'm sorry.
we're on a fraction of the speed.
That's okay. That's kind of clever.
But we're going this fast right now, guys, and it's still going faster than us. Like by a lot.
Humanity in one shot. And,
it's going faster than us by a lot, so that just gives you a perspective of how fast that is.
Message earlier, saying many believe that this flight is nothing more than an expensive PR stunt. The fate of Orion and SLS
It's not a stunt.
unclear. The mission is either a replay or it couldn't be achieved by a cheap satellite, so all the mission is just an overpriced sightseeing. Please share your thoughts on this.
I do not agree.
I think we're all seeing now exactly the reason why. To hear them discuss the views that they're seeing, the science that they're getting. To have some
Bro,
of
how
us
do people
get
think this is fake? Like, you actually have to be, like, low IQ to think this is fake.
To photograph for you.
This
You
is
want
real
us
as hell.
To the left or the right, we can do that. Or they're just seeing something and go, oh my gosh, look what I saw, and can take that picture. There's something about adding the human experience to it that I think brings it closer to Earth, especially for people that are far away.
The human element of space flight holds a level of importance that that obviously not everybody is going to understand. If we really are going to expand our footprint both to the moon and onto Mars, that profound point needs to be better understood, and it's up to us, those who are trying to help tell the story of the modern era of spaceflight, just how important that is.
Very important. Like, if we can't get past our own moon, then how are we going to get to Mars, you know?
Beyond that, I don't know if I have the...
Currently, as I'm filming in 2026, we have not been on Mars, ever.
My exact thoughts on it right now, especially as we are living in this moment now, still in the LOS phase of the flight. We still can't talk to the crew yet.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Imagine you can't talk to someone, you're like the 100,000 miles in space, guys.
Space flight is incredibly important and profound. Because we are going somewhere that we were never meant to, and nor were we biologically designed to. So, and it's the purpose and task of that is greater than any one individual could ever be. So I think that's one of the greatest adventures that there ever could possibly be.
I think that going to Florida would be more fun, but I know what they mean. I'm not talking, by the way, they can't hear me. This is just a stream. This is a stream and a stream, guys. I'm streaming this stream audio while playing this game. Yes, I'm playing this game.
The question about the why.
I think that Florida would be a more fun adventure than the moon, personally. Like, the moon just takes too long.
There's the industrial benefits,
personally.
There's the commercial benefits, scientific, technology, innovation, inspiration. I'll also just mention that high level, really the question is not should we go, but should we lead or should we follow? That's how I see it, because everyone, many countries have recognized the value that there is in exploring further into the solar
We should lead! USA's goddamn on top, bro. Screw the other countries, respectfully.
Gain all these extremely tangible benefits.
Except for Japan, you're okay,
Japan. The opportunity to answer the question that could be the question of our lifetime, which is, are we alone? When we go out and meet
we're not alone, bro. Bro, the odds of aliens being real are so high. It's just the universe is so big.
Answering that question,
we can't find aliens because of how big it is. It's like trying to find a Lego, like a brick of Lego somewhere randomly in the world and you got no clues, dog. It's actually bigger than that. Imagine Earth being 5 times bigger trying to find Lego. Even then, that's a friendly way of saying there's too many possibilities of aliens. Aliens exist, dog. If you don't believe me, you're actually stupid and sped. Aliens, we don't know what they look like, but aliens exist. It means other life form other than us. That aliens 100% exist, dog. If you don't agree with me, you're actually like sped.
Scientific reasons to go.
Hopefully hearing it from the crew themselves helps answer that question a little bit better. Again,
well, that's the crew themselves.
Very close to getting communications back from the crew.
Yo!
Less than 10 minutes. We should be
less than 10 minutes, chat.
Again.
So we kind of watch the movie right now, and while behind the movie, it takes too long. If we watch the movie, they would already be back.
NASA filming me without my consent. Very funny.
Yeah, they're filming me without my consent. Give me some money, NASA. You just filmed my house and you doxed me, bro.
Yeah, that felt.
God dang it.
That one hit home.
Andrew Bell, I can practically hear flat earthers showing this image to everyone as proof the earth is flat while the video shows the glowing edge of the earth. It's very funny. Nyberg.
The earth is not flat. If you think the earth is flat, you're actually more sped than sped.
We love you, Godspeed.
I want to leave a comment.
Back to those crater names. Good Joey guy, name it after Jebediah Kerman. Brendan Malone, thank you for the support. Ron Smith, hoping they're playing Pink Floyd in the LOS. Brendan Malone also asked me why can't we bounce the signal off a geostationary satellite to eliminate the loss of signal? Couple reasons. One, there's still a moon in the way, and two, geostationary is in a stationary position around the Earth orbit, so that ground-based satellites...
I think they're reading super chats,
and always know where
not the comments. I didn't see none of those comments.
So it's directionally pointed down for the most part, so it's not like it's all the way...
The moon is literally so fat it's blocking signal. It's like when you stand in front of the antenna, but on a bigger scale. Are antennas even a thing anymore? I'm talking about like antennas. My grandma's antenna's downstairs, dog. If you stand in front of them, your TV stops working.
Yes, that is part of the program that Jared Isaacman, NASA administrator, announced during his ignition event, is to include telecommunications infrastructure both on the surface of the moon and around it. Alex Jobs, also the Katherine Johnson crater name suggestion. Jeremy Quark, NASA Spaceflight for the win. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate it. Crispy, gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Thank you very much for that. If you did get one of those memberships, definitely give them a thank you. And check out the member section. There's some awesome photos that are member levels, both of the launch from Artemis, as well as for all of our photographers down in Starbase, Texas. So awesome Starship stuff if you're into that as well. NorCal, thank you for the support. The $10 super chat. Stuart King, just think the next Earthrise shot, everyone who is living or has lived, with the exception of the 4 astronauts, will be in frame. Chills.
Someone said about 1/3 the size of Earth.
Keep listening in to see if we can hear the crew. Hopefully.
3.5 come along to discuss. They're actually listening to me.
Back in just a couple minutes. Michael Collins alone in the command module, the loneliest man.
No, the moon is tiny.
If anyone wonders what profound means, look at Max's face. Man, now you know how us old timers felt in the Apollo days. That reaction, yeah.
People actually answer me in the super chat, guys. I mean, not super chat, just the normal YouTube chat.
Still use the Apollo control.
That's funny. About 1/3 the size of Earth. The moon is actually huge. I was just looking at some sarcastic comments say they read it, but people actually responded. People are nice.
The space shuttle program was announced while there were astronauts on the...
They probably thought I was like a 5-year-old.
Technically, kinda.
Technically, I'm mentally 5. I'm just kidding. I'm mentally 13.
Thank you for the support.
Or 14. 14 sounds younger than 13, in my opinion.
Super chat. Jeremy Elwood, what entertaining watch flirts already science?
Should I leave a super chat, guys? I'm just kidding. I'm broke as hell.
Joey, how are the DSN satellites still communicating through the moon? Yeah,
looks like we're on Mars right now. Let's freaking go, dog.
One of the dishes there. I wonder if that was just them trying to send the signal in case that they're able to communicate versus the up and down. And again, you can see that is DSN now, which is looking live at the communications between the satellites on the ground that are used for any spacecraft beyond Earth orbit. And then looking there at Canberra, you can see it's ART-2, which is, of course, the Artemis 2 spacecraft. Also, Marine Rebel wondering what the temperature was inside the spacecraft and does it fluctuate?
Technically, they had an eclipse.
The last reading that they gave us was about 71.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
It was like
inside, so relatively comfortable.
It was like a manual eclipse.
Electrico saying,
yeah.
John got your coverage much better than Netflix. I'm learning a lot from you all. And then Good Joey asking about the DSN graphics, still showing.
Be back in a bit. Try not to burn the house down. Guess it's a good thing we got AAA. AAA, we're always with you.
I don't want you with me, stupid AAA.
Here we go.
Shut this ad up.
We have not had yet moonrise here in Spain. And so there's no way that they are able to talk to the moon right now.
But
so that can be
at this point, it seems like though data trying to go
the B-word.
through the Deep Space Network. So at this point, I'm going to hold off on messages and questions because any moment now we should hopefully be hearing the crew returning from the LOS, the loss of signal, after spending approximately 40 minutes on the far side of the moon.
You guys got 40 minutes.
Radio communication from Earth. Just before the LOS, we did see...
that means loss of signal.
setting
Because they got behind the moon.
So hopefully,
Dark side of the
as
moon.
we pass by the other side, we will indeed see the Earth rising again on the other side, which a modern-day Earthrise shot is going to be spectacular. I can't wait to see when those get downloaded.
Me neither. I can't wait to see
Which will
that.
typically happen during their sleep period. They have special test
No, the sun's going down for us, dog.
optics they were using to send the higher bandwidth back down
Now.
to Earth.
I can see Canberra is getting signal.
Here we go. So it seems like they have started to receive data again from the spacecraft, but we haven't communications yet. We're going to have to continue to listen in.
Yo, they got signal a little bit. I saw it. I saw it. I saw the spaceship for a split second. Earth jump scare, someone said.
Quick signal there.
Guys, I'm not seeing nothing. People are saying Aussie, Australia, Asia. That's where the sunrises are. Guys, they are about to get signal back.
We should be getting full comms back from the crew. There we go. Still a little shaky, but getting the imagery back now.
Oh, they're back! Chat! They're coming back to Earth.
Here we go.
And just
They're nowhere near Earth, but they're coming back finally.
see the Earth there. Let's listen in, and hopefully we'll get communications back to them. So maybe quite a bit, but let's listen in from the crew.
This is, it looks like we're in a space place or not, like another planet. Can you guys hear anything? I can't. Personally. There's no, the stream's still on, there's can't hear anything. I'm trying to listen. Alright guys, the spaceship's back. You guys want to see what it looks like? I'm gonna put on my webcam. That's what it looks like for me currently. That's the space station. That's the Earth right there. That little tiny pebble is the Earth. That's the Earth. That's not the moon. That's the Earth.
At this point, as we wait to hear the communications from them, Mission Control is getting a good signal from Orion at this point. We're being told that the crew is getting a few moments to take some of their own personal photos.
Hey, it doesn't glitch.
To the science objectives, we also have been given the opportunity to take their own photography of points of interest. And there's a look back inside the capsule now. We have visual.
It's so dark. Can't even see in the capsule.
I was going to mention, they probably were also taking their time as well for Earthrise photos, right?
Yes. Yeah, that view that you saw from the exterior, that's not the moon and that crescent. That is the Earth.
Told you. They're nowhere near the Earth yet. No, they gotta get to the Earth.
Looking out the window there.
It's like as if they launched from the moon to the Earth, so it's gonna take them a few days to come back. Now their whole entire goal is to come back to Earth. They probably feel like they're in a dream right now, don't they? Imagine waking up and you realize you're in a spaceship still heading towards the moon. It feels like Star Wars in real life, doesn't it? It has to, dog. I just feel like some sort of game or movie.
Houston, we agree to speak.
You hear him?
And it is so great to hear from Earth again. looking back at you. We hear you can look up and see the moon right now. We see you too. When we burned this bird towards the moon, I said that we do not leave Earth, but we choose it. And that is true. We will explore, we will build ships, we will visit again. We will construct science outposts, we will drive rovers, we will do radio astronomy, we will found companies, we will bolster industry, we will inspire. But ultimately, we will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other.
God, he's good. See, they're doing some reflection in there, guys. Can't you guys tell?
Activities from Earth are single system, fragile and interconnected. We copy. Those of us that can are looking back.
It's really, like, guys, it feels like depression when you're up there alone. I know how that feels. I've never been up. Well, I am from Kepler B41, but I don't know how that feels personally. It's been a while. I'm from Kepler 41b, but still, it was a quick trip there for me.
Look at the crew bathed in moonlight.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making the gameplay in the background.
Wow. I know I should be saying something, but
What can you say?
mesmerized.
You can say it's kind of crazy how they're reflecting. Like you really don't think about all that reflecting shit when you're in your bedroom.
Wow.
Those first communications.
Yeah, you don't take that shit for granted, do you guys? I'm mentally slow, so I can't comprehend this now, but I'm probably gonna think back later like this is crazy.
Keep listening in.
I am mentally slow.
Science observations that we heard
I have autism.
them doing prior to the loss of signal. They discussed anything that they were able to do while they were on the far side or out of communications. And we are about a little over an hour away from the beginning of an eclipse from the moon, a solar eclipse as seen from the moon. Alex, how does that work? 'Cause obviously we know with
They're uploading the photos now, I think. It takes a while to get back to the Earth. It takes like 4 minutes or something like
solar
that.
eclipse, but how does that work with the moon?
Yeah, well, it works just very much the same, right? When we talk about eclipse here, we're just talking about an occultation, right? That's the even more precise name if you want. And it's essentially just the moon blocking the sun. That's all it means.
This is so
right?
fun.
It's not like it's gonna be like a solar eclipse that you see here with the ring of fire and everything. It's not gonna be just like that. It's just the moon blocking the sun. But there's a lot of things that they're gonna be able to see. We were talking about.
That's still cool though. We never seen the moon blocking the sun from the moon. Oh my god.
Or simply take pride in maintaining your own.
Screw you, Harbor Freight, you dickwipe.
Or some other Apollo missions. So I'm looking forward the most to this view though, from an us sort of live stream perspective. What we may see, because at that point Orion will be in darkness, right? It will not be hidden by the light of the sun. But there might be a little bit of
That's a visualization. I thought it was real for a second.
essentially the reflection of the sunlight from Earth.
What I showed you was real.
But also the Earth is what would be crescent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a lot of Earth shine. I'm really interested to see what might be visible.
Me too.
Yes, and the crew were advised before all of this science began to, as a reminder, if they are looking at the sun during it, to use eclipse glasses that were provided to them. Just as we did here during the solar eclipse last.
The sun's set outside right now. It's currently
right now, the Orion spacecraft
7:32 p.m.
for that imagery to come here. This was amazing. And yes, I know Pink Floyd, everyone who was quoting it from Dark Side of the Moon there.
Right, I mean, it's going to be the dark side of the moon.
I know it's our side, dark side, you can argue it all you want, but I'm still going to be playing Pink Floyd later tonight.
Yeah. And do you remember before the launch, we were talking about the different launch windows and the different restrictions that they had to be able to launch Artemis 2, right? Because we were talking, for example, the eclipses, the time that Orion can be in darkness, because he uses solar panels, right? And so it's not like it'd be in darkness forever, because otherwise it runs out of battery. And And so there was this limit which was around 90 minutes. This eclipse should only be for about 55 to 56 minutes or
Get
so
my followers up.
in length, and so it's not going to be hitting that limit. But imagine if they had launched another time, another point in their launch period, then you start seeing that being longer or maybe shorter, or maybe there's no eclipse at all. But that also works into planning these missions, and so this is why it's important.
And also,
It's like Henry
it appears they're performing a wastewater dump at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
All of those particles that you see, for those wondering, ejecting from the spacecraft, that is from the wastewater tank as part of the space toilet, which we've been hearing so much about. So, as they return from the far side of the moon, from the lost communications being farther than
They're launching shit into space right now, dog.
Dumping human waste farther than anyone in human history has ever done before.
Oh my God, Sawyer.
And just a reminder,
Historic moments.
this spacecraft is coming back. It's already on a trajectory that puts it back on Earth. So all that thing is just gonna enter Earth's atmosphere. Just saying.
By the way, this is just
Don't eat the yellow moon.
waste for those wondering. The solid waste is stored. Meanwhile, the liquid waste, they try to eject it. Prior to the lunar observation period, they were told to stop using the
All
toilet.
of your flight controllers and your flight director have flipped their Artemis 2 patches around. We are earthbound and ready to bring you home.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
We're coming home. It's gonna take a few days though. I ain't streaming for days.
That's great. It's the light of day as we head back to...
Sounds like an astronaut. Or a flight attendant. Or like the pilot. An airplane.
Well, some rough comms. They have radiant signal. They're still, again, 250,000 miles away.
250,000 miles away from Earth. Isn't that crazy how fast... when they talk, it's probably delayed by a few seconds, to be honest.
Oh, hey, I now see Jared as well. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Looks asleep. Joking on that.
It's
and,
nice. Go ahead.
I was going to note the flowers that you saw there up in the front of the room. Those are actually very significant. Following the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, there was a local family in the Houston area that brought the flight controllers flowers ahead of the mission as a kind of thank you to them and a good luck charm.
When did I get
that
this?
continued all the way through the Space Shuttle program and now continues with Artemis, the same family that's been doing this since 1988, now continuing to provide those flowers for mission control. So when we cut back to the Capcom area where Jenny Gibbons is communicating with the crew and you see those flowers, that is the history of those flowers.
It was interesting, just like earlier when I pointed out that it's a great mission when you see the flight director in Capcom being, standing up, right? Because it's like, how can you be sitting just down and being calm, being part of the team, right? Like, the one handling mission control and the one talking to the crew, I couldn't just sit down and be calm or anything. I will have to be standing up and I don't know.
I'd be pacing. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I would not be able to hold still.
I'm not going to make
the shadows over the solar panels now. Look at this.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, you can see the underside there and all the wiring and everything keeping those solar panels running.
The blue screen.
But yes, as I was noting earlier, they were told to not use the facilities during that observation period, and if they needed to, use their...
A very special moment just now in mission control ahead of the crew's flight to
What up?
Space Center.
I gotta use the bathroom.
Or simulations here. They visited the mission control team in Artemis Mission Control in Houston and brought us each a patch. Everyone in the flight control room has had these on their signifiers at their console. On one side of the patch that you've probably seen is the moon with the Earth behind it. Now that we've passed behind the moon and we are returning home, the flight control team has instructed everyone in the room to switch their patch around so that the Earth is closer and the moon is behind us. We are really looking forward to seeing the Artemis 2 crew, and the Capcom Jenny Gibbons did call that update up to the crew that the flight control team here has turned their patches around as was instructed by the crew during that last sim, and we are counting down the days until they get home.
That is very cool to see for the two-sided Artemis patch there. And I will say ours is not two-sided, but we do have our own mission patch if you want to celebrate Artemis 2 over at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. You can see it there. We rise together back to the moon and beyond. We are now down to only 20% left of the stock that we have of these high-quality patches that are all nice and stitched and thick and really, they're substantial. They're gorgeous, and that is our amazing shop team that came up with that. And again, you can see basically what we're seeing right now, Earth in the distance and Orion at the moon. This is pretty much exactly where they're at this moment in the mission portrayed on this patch. So that's at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Once it's gone, it's gone in the patch form, which there's only 20% left. And if you prefer it, there's also mugs. We've got t-shirts, baby onesies, all different kinds of items that you can get it on. The sun shirts as well that our team was using during the actual Artemis launch itself out in the field. Our crew was wearing this exactly.
I'm having a green watermelon ring pop.
NASAspaceflight.com, and I'm actually wearing the shirt version of it as we speak, and I think Max that is our shirt.
Yep, I tried. We actually had
I'll open it from the head first.
I didn't want to spoil
Look, guys.
anything or anyone by wearing it too early. So the first time I wore it was launch day, and the second time I'm wearing it is right now.
She say what
so
you know about love. It's an emerald.
My passport, and so is actually. So I have two double-sided Artemis 2 patches. The one Leah was just talking about, and I have one pinned up on one side and the other pinned up on.
Oh my gosh, an ad. Uh-oh, wrong way.
American Family Insurance.
I will be using avocados from Mexico in my recipe because they're
Avocados from Mexico.
So, yeah, a very special one.
Huh.
So I've got the shirt too, and you won't have to wait the.
Just gotta look at my files real quick and get some up. $7:40 p.m. Alright, we're back, guys.
And you won't have to wait though, because
Just so you know, once we flipped our patches, Jeremy, we heard you call down that you were clipped, and then we briefly lost comms. Glad we're back.
Okay, copy that. We were just excited that we got to share that you the MAR and mission control flip your patches around, and that side of the patch is getting to see the light of day. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Our pleasure.
Look at that. The crescent of the moon.
That's the moon, right?
Sun rays. Yeah, that's it.
yes, that is a little bit of the moon on the middle right of the screen, just underneath the 55%.
Wow.
Oh my.
Look, guys. Look. I don't know if you can't see it, what? Wow. That's crazy, dog.
Gosh. Use contingency urinals. Because I know everyone in this mission, that's all they want to talk about, so might as well bring it up.
So we saw earlier Earth setting. Now we're going to see the sunset.
You know, piss can push you down in space like it push you around.
And hopefully we will then see Earth rise, for sure. As before we saw the Earth set, hopefully we'll see Earth rise again, as seen originally by Apollo 8. Well, no, see the Earth rise on the other side?
Oh, it already happened.
I thought it was Earth set.
No, what we saw was the Earth set, but the Earth rise has already happened. Because we're already on the other side. We're already getting signal.
Either way, we have the eclipse coming up as well. So,
50 minutes.
Yes, that'll be the cool thing is as we see that sun disappear to be blocked
Yeah,
by
he's a human.
the moon itself, and hopefully we'll get to see what the crew is seeing with some of that corona, the parts that are typically only seen.
It's probably embarrassed right now. Don't sweat it, dog.
Hopefully they'll get to see those parts as well from around the moon. Let me take a moment to keep thanking people as we get back to taking more questions at this point. We'll be saying if I could name a creator, it would be Thomas Aquinas. Seated as why haven't we seen the U.S. flag on the surface? Flag is very tiny and the crew is still relatively far away. Plus, all of the flags that have been out there have been bleached white from all of the radiation exposure on the surface of the moon. All of those years.
2 kilometer size. Well, hang on. Not 2 kilometer, 1 mile size U.S. flag. And I used the right units.
Yes, thank you. The Freedom Unit. I joke.
Freedom.
You can see on the top of the screen, we of course are flashing between both Imperial and metric units. So hopefully all of our audience can follow along with the mission as it progresses here. Sarge, aliens would name a crater Terrestis and Dullnus. Latin there.
Not true.
Daisy, thank you for the suggestion there. Nighthawk, saying thank you for messing up my sleep with your great coverage from Norway.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Out in Norway.
Nice.
It's 2 a.m.
Darren, there are windows. Why not show us the moon? That's actually a good question. Well, there's the internal view that the crew has, which they're primarily using to show the crew, as a normally basically a medical camera that around in there to show teams on Earth anything they need. But I think it's important to note the fact that the windows are a little occupied right now, Max. A little bit.
I mean, they're full of faces and cameras and shrouds. Yeah, the crew is certainly busy utilizing those windows to the best of their ability, and they certainly were right before we went into the LOS period of the flight. Yeah, they're quite busy.
I just got an analogy if you want. Let's say that we are all in this flight, right? But they got window seat and we got aisle seat. And so we can, it's not like they can just point the camera out the window. They take priority.
We can all agree, though, still better than the middle seat.
That's true.
Yeah, I'll take the solar array wing view over a middle seat of nothing any day.
Yeah, 100%.
They're on with the 20 pounds, saying by being at the furthest point from Earth, we're also the closest to other potential life in the universe, which is kind of wild. Bob Fillmore gifting 10 red team memberships.
Closest to the most potential life in the universe, you're definitely closer.
Memberships. Mary Beth Campbell with the 20
Those astronauts closest to the potential life in the universe.
Great info. Keith Jean saying, I presume not, but will they have to power down anything during the solar eclipse? It's a good question. Alex?
Not sure it's long enough that they really need that kind of procedure. I'm sure we may hear something if that were the case, but I don't think it's that long. Before the launch, we were talking about this a couple of minutes ago. We were talking, the different...
Integrity Houston for a tag up pre-forward link LOS in place of the flight director conference.
Okay, Jenny, alrighty.
Alright, crew, I'm going to roll through a couple of topics here. The first two are for timeline. First of all, read for your toilet maintenance. It is a shortened toilet maintenance where you do not have to do the aux zone change out. That portion of the procedure is canceled. Victor, you have an HHP stop activity on your timeline. We need you to perform that as scheduled for bandwidth reasons. For your next portion of the flyby, in particular the eclipse, we want to remind you that you can take off the eclipse glasses when the sun sets and you're simply looking at the corona. And then finally, for the D5 with the long or zoom lens, which is set for solar corona, we want to remind you that when you are capturing Earth shine, you will likely have to adjust the exposure. That's all I have for you. Let me know if you have anything for us.
Now imagine that being the only voice you hear come through your space station.
Okay, Houston, we copy all. Thanks for those words, Sydney.
Just wait to see if they say anything more.
9.99.
Shut up.
I mean, it's our best deal ever.
I don't care.
Driving is what drives me. The road.
Are going to, that been seen, at one point they are going to have to stop it for bandwidth reasons. They're going to work on their regular toilet maintenance, and then interesting to, like we were talking about before, the reminder to wear the eclipse glasses just like you would here on Earth so you don't damage your eyes. And Max, I want to talk to you about this. They were talking about the D5, which is their DSLR camera with the long lens, to have it set to view the corona and to have to adjust the exposure as needed for Earth shine. What exactly do they mean by that, and how do you set a camera for corona capture?
You know, I've never actually gone out of my way to capture solar corona before. But I imagine since they want to include Earthshine in that, means that they're probably going to be using a lot lower shutter speeds and a lot more open apertures to bring in a lot more light into that camera sensor as they possibly can before the sun creeps up over the lunar horizon and blinds the camera with a very bright white light. But it is good to confirm from NASA comms that they're going to be actually trying to go for Earthshine on the moon. I didn't know that. So that's good to hear.
Feels crazy in history is made today. I feel weird.
The camera set up just for the corona and the Earthshine, they're probably going to be on the lower end of settings, probably anywhere from like, I don't know if I don't even know if I'm going to guess correctly or not, but close, if not wide open aperture. So whatever it is on that lens, whether it be a 4 or 4.5 or 6.3, somewhere around there, and probably anywhere from 1/50th or 1/50th, maybe to up to maybe 1/250th, somewhere in that range, some combination. I'm not entirely sure. But the corona is nowhere near as bright, obviously, as the moon or as the sun, and that is what they want to capture with the lunar surface in the foreground as well. So that is, I imagine, what they are currently prepping for right now.
Also, appreciation for everyone in chat getting the Rush song reference there, which totally wasn't listening to Countdown by Rush.
Yes.
Around the time of the Artemis launch, which for those who don't know, they were invited to see STS-1, the first space shuttle launch, and they did. And then they wrote a song about it and used actual communications from the mission, and it was absolutely spectacular. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Max, because I was thinking about this earlier. We've seen the photo of the Earth from space, and if you look, you've seen it probably on social media, people comparing it to the one from the Apollo era and going, wow, things look much dimmer, it doesn't look as bright, it doesn't look as sharp, things like that. When you look at the data that was used to capture that image, that was an ISO of 51,200.
Yep.
Which I don't even go that high when shooting for a Falcon Nebula shot. Can you kind of explain to people at home who might not understand what that meant, the camera behind it, of why it looked sort of duller, so to speak?
Yeah, so essentially ISO on your camera is fake light, and you would want to use that in low light scenarios. And if you're in a situation where you're on the dark side of the Earth, for example, and you are already at your lowest shutter speed that you are comfortable holding, and in this case, I think it was 1/5 of a second or something like that. and the aperture already cranked wide open, and you still want more light in there, or you want help lighting up your subject, you crank that ISO. And 51,200 is an incredibly high ISO. And when you use more ISO, you get more grain and you lose sharpness. So that is why the image looks the way that it does. It's not anywhere near as crisp as film, obviously. But I think, given for what it was, mind you, again, that was the dark side of the Earth. That wasn't the lit side. That wasn't the lit part of the Earth, right? So
might be our side.
I think
still a little bit of light.
the reason why
cloudy as hell outside, a little pink in the sky.
Was because they were using such a high ISO level. But that being said, even with those settings and that super high ISO level, the image still looked incredible, and that camera performed incredibly.
I want to follow
Look at this. Look at this, man. Like, amazing still. Look at this. Just look at it. Yeah.
I love that it shows the window frame. Do not forget that, hey, this is shot out of a capsule.
Yep.
Heading to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
This is after the transfer injection.
Amazing. Also interesting, when they do go back, if we get to see inside the capsule again, which they're sporadic of when they show it, they were looking at some of their photography on the tablet here.
Yeah,
Look at the top left. They're working on photos and flipping through them.
Look at how many pictures they
dude. I mean,
they're scrolling through the list.
That's good, because like, I hope they were all just like, as the Earth was getting close to the moon. Look at that!
Dude, Max, you and I did this after launch as we go through our photos and go, look at this! Oh no, look at this! That's what they're doing. They're just sharing their photos.
That's insane.
And that might be just one person, what one person might have shot. If they took turns, which they did, especially early on, but oh my god. This is gonna be awesome.
Jesus. One of those things you do after a launch and you scroll through and you go, oh my god, I got this amazing shot. Yeah, one of them looked like the Earthrise shot earlier. This is cool, just watching them go through their photos. Anybody who's been a photographer out there knows the exact thing they're doing right now.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. It's like the greatest scrambling you could ever possibly want or ever try. Just like going back on your dial on your camera, just trying to see everything that you got. This applies especially to scenarios like this where you get one chance. That's it. If you miss it, you miss it. There are no do-overs. There's no retry. It's either you get it or you don't. And it looks like, just from what we've seen so far, they freaking got it.
Yeah. And again, they will work on downlinking those overnight, but they first have to put them into a file system on their computer, basically. And then once they're in their sleep period, the team on the ground will remote in to their tablets and to this file system to be able to download it using an optical link, which is experimental on this, but using that to get a higher bandwidth to download as many of those photos as possible. Of course, anything that doesn't get downloaded remotely will be brought back on the physical SD cards to Earth once they return, and we'll get even more photography from them. Wow. Which, I saw someone asking earlier, is there any risk of the SD cards getting damaged by radiation during the return?
Maybe. I mean, I think. Forgive the silence. I'm just trying to think on this one for a bit. I don't think it's going to be that much of a concern, to be honest with you. I mean, it's obviously also a great tech demonstrator as to what the cards themselves can handle. I think in terms of what card they take, I know for sure. Well, the D50 takes just a standard SD card that's maybe like, I don't know, that tall and that wide, something like that. But also, I think the Z9 either takes a standard SD or, I just had it.
You're in my passenger seat right now, guys.
What kind of card was that? I used it in my R5. Why can I not think of the name of it right now? This is kind of embarrassing. CF Express Type B. There we go. And usually the CF Express has a thicker metal casing before you actually get to the actual data card itself. So maybe that is serving as a bit more protection, at least for the Z9.
Integrity, Houston, you have 3 minutes until we go into a forward link LOS. We'll be back up with you in about an hour during the eclipse on Madrid.
Cheer up.
Imagine more productivity with fewer subscriptions. Go for workspace included.
Or that there's minimal radiation hitting them as well. Thanks to Julie for bringing that up in the back channel. But I don't think the SD cards or whatever memory cards that they are using are going to be too much of a concern when it comes to radiation affecting them. If they were, I think that they would find some other method. But this whole flight in general is a great tech demonstrator as to what can handle the heat, radiation, and the exposure levels compared to what cameras that they were obviously using, not just during Apollo, but also currently being utilized on the space station and other commercial flights as well. So certainly that is certainly a concern, but I don't think it's that much of a concern yet. But obviously we'll find out as the course goes on, and in due time if there is any damage to them.
Yep. And a reminder, each crew member for this particular shoot was given their own individual SD card. So that way when they upload them into the system, it is, we know Christina took this one and Reed took that one. So when they downlink it, and they even said earlier in their file system to when you put them in, go under the science folder and then put your name underneath the science folder of your shots.
That's cool.
They only have a community card that everyone can kind of shoot if there's a camera in the window, but for this specific one, they're each given their own cards, so it'll be interesting to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alex, they mentioned a forward LOS here. Didn't we just have a loss of signal?
Yeah, when they talk about a forward LOS, is that the crew will be able to talk back to Earth, right? But Earth will not be able to talk to the crew, and so there's actually the other way around where the Earth can talk to the crew, but the crew will not be able to. We had that, for example, after they separated from the core stage, they had a bit of an issue there with the comms. Usually you don't want those where, you can talk to the crew, but the crew cannot talk to you. Those are a little bit more rare. But this is just because right now at Canberra, at the DSN side, the Deep Space Network side, unfortunately it's very low elevation, right? And so in order to be able to get the data, it's not optimal. It's not in an optimal configuration, and so they're needing to do that change to Madrid. And in Madrid, the moon has already risen, but it's still low elevation, right? And so the same deal. It needs to go up a little bit. In Canberra, it's the opposite. It's sort of going down. And so that is essentially what is going on here. There is not an eclipse of anything. Like, it's not a direct blockage of the moon blocking the signals from Earth or anything like that. It's not that this is just like the previous one that we have had. They still have connection. They are just not able to talk to the crew, essentially.
Yeah, it's just Canberra is very low, Madrid is still very low, so you gotta kind of wait till it gets higher in one of them versus the other. And yes, I know it's Canberra. Yeah, pronunciations, American Spaniards, we do our best.
Yeah, I'm not native English speaker, just saying. I live closer to this than this.
Fair enough, yeah. So, that's also
Yeah,
what I'm talking about earlier about the HHP camera that they needed to shut down. That's the camera that we've been seeing inside the spacecraft from. So, to prioritize the bandwidth, they are going to be shutting that one down. So we might lose the view inside the spacecraft at that point. But that's just the interior views. There's still obviously these solar array wing cameras that we've been seeing, or the SAW cameras. So hopefully we'll still get video from these. Like
The rocket ship's still going faster than this, by the way, guys.
You can see the former space shuttle owns engine on the back of the European service module, peeking over on the left side of the screen.
How fast is it going?
The ODST Moody was an interesting point here, saying, fellas, if all goes according to plan,
931 miles an hour.
Humans alive today will be the last to know of a time when humans solely inhabited the Earth. And it's on our shoulders that our children will stand and use to live.
Amen to that.
Yes. Various fortuitous saying, I hope NASA puts a replica of the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey in their movies in the future. So I guess. Chirilla becoming a PADRAT member. Nathan, I went to the Houston Space Center a couple of years ago after watching one of the SpaceX launches, and I was blown away by the rockets in the Apollo control room, and now this today. Amaze. I like it. Xenon player, we get signal, main screen turn on, it's you. Marcel, welcome you to crew back. Jeremy saying, sorry I can't afford another YouTube subscription, but love you guys. Will always at least super chat when viewing. Sincerely appreciate you for everything space news. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And of course, we don't just do Artemis. Of course, we have the 24/7 live Artemis coverage. We've been calling it 24/10 for the full 10-day mission. We also still cover everything down in Starbase, Texas, Gregor, where there was just a very
10 days, guys.
incident that occurred with one of the SpaceX test fires there, and then all the stuff that happens on the Space Coast, including Starlink launches. We have the CRS mission, resupplying the International Space Station coming up on Thursday. We have all of that, and we also have our regular Starship update, where we talk about everything going on with the Starship program. That'll be coming up after the conclusion of our dedicated coverage here. So plenty of things on the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, if you like full spaceflight, not just Artemis, might as well check that out too. Peter wondering if you can discuss some unknown factors, aka astronaut movement within the capsule, the toilet missions from the capsule, etc., that can impact the path or trajectory and cause a deviation from the planned path. That's got Alex written all over it if I've ever seen one.
Well, unknown factors, they are known, right? A whole different thing is whether you can simulate those, which is different. And it's not really that easy to simulate. There are other factors that are also known, and you can more or less simulate those. For example, this that we're seeing right now, which is the effect of the sun hitting the spacecraft. Solar radiation, little photons of light, and it creates a pressure, just like a solar sail. Solar sails take that sort of advantage of being able to be pushed by the sunlight, but it still happens with anything, right? And so that, for example, can be
it's almost fully dark outside.
It can tug you a little bit in the wrong direction as well. So yeah, things like as we were talking about, the wastewater dumps, the venting of the CO2 as well that they use. Again, that one is not recycled. They capture the CO2 from the atmosphere and then it's dumped overboard. It's not like the International Space Station or anything like that. And so yeah, it's that sort of thing that really affects that. Also, when they do movements, for example, they did the other day a manual piloting session, right, with Orion, and that also altered the spacecraft's trajectory because they were testing the ability of Orion to manually be controlled and things like that by them. And so that sort of thing also affects the trajectory, as can be expected because you're firing the thrusters, of course. But yeah.
Literally didn't know they were launching. I watched 3 minutes when they were launching. Isn't that crazy, guys?
Sorry about that. That's why they have all of these course correction burns and everything, so that they can check all of this ahead of time, and if they need to fine-tune, so if they have the exact splashdown spot, they have that. Steve saying, when NSF picosat to Leo/Moon, merge funds launch. I mean, it's not a bad idea. If we could get one out there, we would. It's going to take a lot of merch sales to make that happen, though. So if you want to make that happen, we have shop.net.
Get out here, Gemini.
Think that we'll have patches left. We're down to the final 20% of that, and once it's gone for the patch. So check that out, shop.nasaspaceflight.com if you want one. Austin Skirvin saying, Beep, currently listening to Eclipse by Pink Floyd to celebrate the mission. Congrats to the crew for all the accomplishments. Boom. Thank you for the tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. For direct way of supporting us. Appreciate that. Nordfinder saying, ESM, you're service module patch, please. We've got the full mission patch. Is that not good enough? I'm sure ESA has one of their own, though.
That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching.